The eviction notice smells like cheap ink and finality. Caelen Roe presses his back against the apartment door, fingers crushing the paper until it crumples in his fist. 3 days. That's all the time left before the landlord changes the locks and everything he's fought to protect disappears into the system's machinery. Behind him, Elio coughs. Wet, rattling, the kind that makes Caelen's chest tighten with terror he can't afford to show. The boy is 6 years old and weighs less than a bag of groceries. His wrists bear scars that look like rope burns, and he hasn't spoken a full sentence since Caelen found him 3 months ago, huddled in the service entrance of a building Caelen cleaned for minimum wage. The phone vibrates against Caelen's thigh. Another message. Another threat wrapped in bureaucratic language about unauthorized guardianship and immediate intervention required. He slides down the door until he's sitting on linoleum that peels at the edges, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looks like a question mark. 22 years old, virgin, unmated, omega. In a world that treats those words like a checklist for ownership, Caelen learned early that survival meant staying invisible. But Elio made him visible. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The second envelope arrives at 11:47 p.m., slipped under the door while Caelen sits frozen on the bathroom floor, holding a thermometer that reads 103.2. He hears the soft thud, sees the corner of cream-colored paper catching lamplight from the hallway. Government seal. Red wax. The kind that means decisions have already been made about your body, your future, your right to say no. Caelen's hands shake as he tears it open. Contract of marital union. Approved. Binding. The words swim. His vision tunnels. Somewhere in the apartment, Elio whimpers in his sleep, and Caelen reads the name typed in bold letters at the bottom of the page. Bastian Kade. The name alone makes his stomach drop. Everyone in New York knows the rumors, billionaire recluse, mafia connections that reach into ports and construction unions and private security firms that operate in shadows. A man who survived a car bombing that killed his mate and unborn child 5 years ago. A man the Senate whispers about in closed hearings but never charges. A man in a wheelchair. Caelen's breath comes too fast. The paper trembles in his grip. He didn't apply for this. Didn't consent. Didn't even know his name was in the registry queue. But there it is. Approval stamp. Medical clearance. Virgin status confirmed. Typed out like it's just another data point instead of something that makes him want to crawl out of his skin. The contract includes a clause that makes his vision blur with desperate hope and nauseating dread. Legal guardianship rights transfer to spouse upon union completion. Elio could stay. Elio could be safe. Caelen signs his body over to a man he's never met. The apartment walls press closer. The thermometer beeps from the bathroom. The eviction notice sits on the counter next to expired cough syrup and a jar with $47 in crumpled bills. Caelen's foster mother used to say that omegas who asked questions ended up in worse places than the ones who stayed quiet. He learned to nod, to agree, to make himself small enough that powerful people forgot he was there. But this isn't about him anymore. He looks at Elio's sleeping form. Small body curled tight under a blanket thin enough to see through, fingers clutched around a stuffed dog missing one eye. The boy's breathing rattles in the silence. Caelen picks up the pen that came with the contract. His signature looks like a surrender. The response comes at 6:23 a.m. A black car idles outside the building. The windows are tinted dark enough that Caelen can't see who's inside, but he feels the weight of attention like pressure against his chest. A man in a suit that costs more than 3 months of Caelen's rent steps out. He doesn't knock, doesn't introduce himself, just hands Caelen a phone, sleek, new, still in protective plastic. Car leaves in 15 minutes, the man says. His voice is flat, professional, empty of anything resembling warmth. Bring the child. Leave everything else. Caelen's throat closes. I haven't. I need more time. You signed the contract at 2:34 a.m. The man checks his watch. Legal binding occurred at point of signature. Refusal now constitutes breach with penalties including immediate child services intervention and criminal prosecution for fraud. The words hit like fists. Elio appears in the doorway, barefoot, eyes wide and glassy with fever. He doesn't speak. He never does. But his small hand finds Caelen's, and his grip is desperate. Caelen makes a choice that feels like falling. He packs one bag, Elio's stuffed dog, their shared toothbrush, the photo Caelen has of his foster siblings, all of them scattered now into systems and situations he tries not to think about. The car's interior smells like leather and something sharper. Disinfectant, maybe, or the particular scent of money that's been laundered so many times it doesn't carry fingerprints anymore. Elio trembles against Caelen's side. The driver doesn't speak. Classical music plays low through speakers Caelen can't see. They drive for 40 minutes through streets that get cleaner, buildings that get taller, until the car pulls into an underground garage where security cameras follow their movement with mechanical precision. The elevator doesn't have buttons. It just rises. Caelen's ears pop. Elio's fingers dig into his arm hard enough to bruise. When the doors open, Caelen sees him for the first time. Bastian Kade sits in a wheelchair near floor-to-ceiling windows that overlook the Hudson River. His hair is silver white, swept back from a face that carries scars like medals. One cuts through his left eyebrow, another traces his jawline. He wears a black shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows, and when he turns his head, his eyes are the color of winter storms. He doesn't smile, doesn't stand, just looks at Caelen with an expression that might be assessment or might be something colder. "You're afraid," Bastian says. His voice is low, controlled, the kind that doesn't need volume to command attention. "That's smart." Caelen can't speak. His body recognizes Alpha before his mind catches up. Scent hitting him like a wave, rich and heavy and controlled in a way that feels deliberate. His knees want to fold. His biology screams at him to submit, to lower his eyes, to present his neck. He does none of those things. Instead, he pulls Elio closer and meets Bastian's gaze with something that might be defiance or might just be the last shred of dignity he has left. Bastian's expression doesn't change. "You signed the contract to protect him." It's not a question. Caelen's jaw tightens. "What did you expect?" "Exactly that." Bastian wheels himself closer. The movement is smooth, practiced, and the chair is clearly custom. Sleek, silent, expensive enough that Caelen can't even guess the cost. "Which is why you're here." The penthouse stretches behind him. Minimalist furniture, medical equipment tucked discreetly into alcoves, and one door near the far wall that's closed with a lock that looks military-grade. Caelen's pulse hammers in his throat. "I don't understand." Bastian's eyes drop to Elio, and for the first time, something shifts in his expression. Not softness, Caelen doesn't think this man does soft, but a kind of recognition that makes Caelen's chest constrict. "You're not property here," Bastian says quietly. "You're under protection." The words should be comforting. They're not, because Caelen learned a long time ago that protection always comes with a price, and men like Bastian Kade don't offer anything without expecting payment. Bastian gestures to a woman who appears from a side hallway, middle-aged, professional, wearing scrubs and an expression of careful neutrality. "Dr. Amani will examine the boy. You'll stay with him." "Why?" Caelen's voice cracks. "Why do you care about?" "Because the system that married you to me is the same system that tried to kill him." Bastian's tone doesn't rise, but the weight behind it makes Caelen's breath catch. "And I don't leave loose ends." The woman, Dr. Amani, holds out her hand to Elio with a patience that feels genuine. The boy looks up at Caelen with those two old eyes, and Caelen nods even though everything in him screams that this is wrong, that he's walking deeper into something he can't control. Elio takes her hand. They disappear down the hallway. Caelen stands alone with his new husband, in a penthouse that feels more like a fortress, staring at a man who just called him protected instead of owned and somehow made it sound more terrifying. Bastian wheels toward the windows. "You have questions?" "1,000. Ask one." Caelen's throat is dry. His body still hums with the aftershock of Alpha presence, biology warring with the part of him that refuses to be reduced to instinct. "What do you want from me?" Bastian doesn't turn around. The city spreads below them, glittering and indifferent. I want you to stay alive long enough to matter. The locked door near the far wall catches Caelen's attention again. Something about it pulls at him, the way it sits separate from everything else, the weight of secrecy pressing against the seams. What's in there? Caelen asks. Bastian's shoulders tense. Just for a second. Just enough for Caelen to notice. Something you're not ready to know about yet. And that's when Caelen understands with cold, creeping certainty that this marriage isn't about desire or power or even control. It's about whatever is behind that door. What secret is Bastian Kade hiding that required him to marry a stranger? The bedroom is larger than Caelen's entire previous apartment. He stands in the doorway, bag clutched in one hand, watching Dr. Amani settle Elio onto a bed that looks like it belongs in a hospital. Adjustable, with rails that fold down and monitoring equipment built into the headboard. The boy's eyes are half closed, fever making him pliant in a way that twists Caelen's stomach. His temperature is 103.4 dr. Imani says without looking up. She's already started and 4 movements efficient and practiced. Pneumonia, likely. When did the cough start? 5 days ago. Caelen's voice sounds distant to his own ears. I couldn't afford urgent care. She nods like she's heard it before. He'll need antibiotics, monitoring, rest. She finally meets Caelen's gaze, and her expression softens just slightly. He'll be okay. The words don't land. Caelen's been told things would be okay too many times by people who disappeared the moment complications arose. Dr. Amani seems to read his face. I live here, 3rd floor. If he needs anything, if you need anything, you press this. She hands Caelen a small device that looks like a panic button. Someone will come. Caelen stares at it. Why? Because Mr. Kade doesn't do things halfway. She checks Elio's 4-line one more time, then straightens. Your room is across the hall. Separate from his. The emphasis on separate feels deliberate. Caelen waits until she leaves before sinking into the chair beside Elio's bed. The boy's hand is small and hot in his, fingers twitching with dreams that probably aren't kind. Memory surfaces without permission. Caelen at 7 years old, foster home number 3, learning that crying only made the older kids meaner. Foster home number 5, where the alpha who ran the place liked Omega's young and compliant. Foster home number 8, where Caelen perfected the art of being forgettable, quiet voice, lowered eyes, never asking for seconds at dinner. By the time he aged out of the system at 18, Caelen had learned that survival meant swallowing every question, every objection, every scream that tried to climb out of his throat. But Elio changed that. Caelen found him 3 months ago during a late-night cleaning shift at a corporate building downtown. The boy was hiding in the service entrance, clothes torn, wrists rubbed raw, terror so thick in his scent that Caelen's Omega instincts roared to life in a way they never had before. He should have called the police, should have reported it through proper channels. Instead, he wrapped Elio in his jacket and took him home. The system that was supposed to protect children had been the one selling them. Caelen didn't have proof then, still doesn't. Just a 6-year-old who flinches at raised voices and won't eat anything unless Caelen eats first, and wakes up screaming from nightmares about men in suits who smell like cigars and promises. Elio's breathing evens out as the medication takes hold. Caelen watches the monitors, the way numbers shift and stabilize, and feels the weight of choice pressing down on his chest. He signed the contract to save Elio, but what did he actually agree to? The apartment, penthouse, he corrects himself, is silent in the way expensive places are. No street noise, no neighbors shouting through walls, just climate control humming and the occasional soft footstep from staff who move like ghosts. Caelen forces himself to stand, to cross the hallway to the room that's apparently his now. It's not decorated, no personal touches, just a bed that looks like it's never been slept in, a dresser, and another door that leads to a bathroom tiled in white marble. Clean, sterile. The kind of space designed for function, not comfort. He sits on the edge of the bed and pulls out the contract he shoved into his bag. The legal language is dense, but certain phrases jump out. Marital rights reserved. Cohabitation required. Dissolution permitted only under conditions of mutual consent or documented abuse. His fingers freeze on that last part. Documented abuse. Which means someone would have to believe him. Someone would have to listen. And Caelen's entire life has been a lesson in how rarely that happens to Omegas who nobody wanted in the first place. A soft knock interrupts his spiral. Caelen opens the door to find a man in his 30s, black, with close-cropped hair and an expression that's carefully neutral. He's wearing casual clothes, jeans, a sweater, but moves with the kind of awareness that suggests security training. "I'm Deshawn," the man says. "I oversee household operations. Mr. Kade asked me to make sure you're settling in." Settling in? Like this is a vacation. Caelen's laugh comes out sharp. "Is that what we're calling this?" Deshawn doesn't react. "You'll find clothes in your size in the dresser. Kitchen is stocked. If you need anything, there's a tablet on the nightstand that connects to house systems." "I didn't agree to this." The words burst out before Caelen can stop them. "You didn't." The acknowledgement is worse than dismissal. It means everyone here knows exactly what happened and nobody's pretending otherwise. Then why? Because the alternative was worse. Deshawn meets Caelen's gaze directly, and Mr. Kade has a habit of choosing the least terrible option available. He leaves before Caelen can respond. The tablet on the nightstand glows when Caelen touches it. The interface is simple. Temperature controls, lighting, communication channels labeled medical, security, kitchen, Kade. Caelen stares at that last one. His thumb hovers over it. He doesn't press. Instead, he moves back across the hall to check on Elio. The boy is sleeping deeply now, color already returning to his cheeks. The monitors show stable vitals. Someone left a note on the bedside table. Dr. Amani will check on him at 6 a.m. He's safe. Safe. Caelen wants to believe it. He returns to his room and lies on top of the covers, still fully dressed. Phone clutched in one hand even though he has nobody to call. The ceiling is smooth, unmarked, so different from the water-stained plaster. He's used to that it feels like being in a different world. His body aches with exhaustion, but his mind won't stop spinning. Bastian Kade married him for legal guardianship rights. That much is clear. But guardianship of what? Just Elio? Or something connected to that locked room? Caelen thinks about the way Bastian's shoulders tensed when asked about it. The specific phrasing. Something you're not ready to know about yet. Not something that's none of your business. Not something dangerous. But something Caelen will eventually learn. Which means whatever is behind that door is going to become his problem whether he wants it to or not. His phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. Sleep. Tomorrow will be complicated. No signature. But Caelen knows who sent it. He should be angry. Should demand answers. Should refuse to play along with whatever game this is. Instead, he closes his eyes and lets exhaustion pull him under, because fighting takes energy he doesn't have, and Elio is safe for the first time in months, and sometimes survival means accepting temporary mercy even when you know it comes with a price. What Caelen doesn't know yet is that the price is already being calculated. And in another part of the penthouse, Bastian Kade sits alone in the dark, staring at surveillance footage of the family court liaison office, watching as bureaucrats process paperwork that sells children to the highest bidder while the law looks the other way. He's been watching for 3 years, building case files nobody will ever see. And now he has the final piece he needed. An Omega spouse whose virgin status makes him legally untouchable under federal protection statutes. Someone who can walk into rooms Bastian can't access. Someone the system will dismiss as irrelevant. Someone desperate enough to help without realizing what he's helping with. Bastian closes the laptop and wheels toward the locked room. Inside, a child sleeps. Not Elio. Another one. The one Bastian hasn't told Caelen about yet. What happens when Caelen discovers he's not protecting one child, but an entire network of them? Caelen wakes to sunlight that feels wrong. Too clean, too bright, filtering through windows that don't rattle with traffic noise. For 5 seconds, he doesn't remember where he is. Then it crashes back. The contract, the car, the penthouse, the man in the wheelchair who bought him through legal channels instead of illegal ones and somehow made that feel worse. His phone shows 7:43 a.m. He slept longer than he has in months. Panic hits immediately. Elio. Caelen throws off the covers and bolts across the hallway, heart hammering, expecting to find the bed empty or the boy worse, or Elio is sitting up, eating applesauce from a small bowl while Dr. Amani checks his temperature. The boy's eyes find Caelen's, and something that might be relief flickers across his small face. Temperature's down to 99.8. Dr. Amani reports. Antibiotics are working fast. He'll need to rest for another few days. But the worst is over. Caelen's knees go weak. He sinks into the chair beside the bed, reaching for Elio's free hand. The boy doesn't speak. He never does. But he squeezes Caelen's fingers with surprising strength. You should eat, Dr. Amani says to Caelen. Kitchen is 1 floor down. Staff will help you. The idea of navigating this building, of interacting with more strangers, makes Caelen's stomach turn. But Elio needs him functional, so he nods. The elevator requires a fingerprint scan. Caelen stares at the panel until Deshawn appears behind him, silent as a shadow. Your print's already in the system, Deshawn says, demonstrating on the scanner. You have access to floors 1 through 12. Basement levels require additional clearance. How many basement levels are there? 3. Deshawn's expression doesn't shift. You don't need to worry about those, which means that's exactly where Caelen should worry about. The kitchen is massive, industrial-grade appliances, marble countertops, and a woman in her 50s who introduces herself as Kendra while sliding a plate of eggs and toast across the island toward him. Mr. Kade thought you might be hungry, she says. Caelen hasn't eaten since yesterday morning. His body betrays him by salivating at the smell. He sits on one of the bar stools and picks up the fork, hyper-aware of how his hands shake slightly. Kendra doesn't comment, just pours him orange juice and returns to chopping vegetables with practiced efficiency. How long have you worked here? Caelen asks. 6 years. Is he? Caelen stops, unsure how to phrase the question. Is Mr. Kade a good employer? Kendra's knife pauses for just a second. He pays well, respects boundaries, doesn't tolerate cruelty. She meets Caelen's gaze. That's more than most people in his position. It's not an answer. It's a diplomatic evasion. But it tells Caelen something important. The staff here are loyal enough to protect Bastian's privacy even from his new spouse. He finishes eating in silence, then returns to Elio's room. The boy has fallen back asleep, breathing easy, color good. Dr. Amani is gone. Caelen sits in the chair and watches Elio sleep, trying to ignore the restless energy crawling under his skin. This place is a cage. Gilded, comfortable, but still a cage. And somewhere in this building is a locked room he's not supposed to ask about. His phone buzzes. A message from the tablet system. Bastian Kade requests your presence in the main study. 3rd door on the left from the primary elevator. Not a question. A summons. Caelen's pulse spikes. He checks Elio one more time, still sleeping peacefully, then forces himself to stand. The study is exactly what he expected. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk with multiple monitors, and Bastian in his wheelchair, facing the windows with his back to the door. He doesn't turn when Caelen enters. Close the door, Bastian says. Caelen does. The click of the latch feels final. The boy is improving, Bastian continues, still not looking at him. Dr. Amani says he'll make a full recovery. I know. She told me. Good. Bastian wheels around, and the movement is so smooth it's almost hypnotic. His eyes lock onto Caelen's with an intensity that makes breathing difficult. Now we discuss terms. Caelen's jaw tightens. I already signed your contract. You signed a legal document. That's different from understanding what you agreed to. Bastian gestures to a chair across from his desk. Sit. It's not a request. Caelen sits, spine rigid, hands clenched in his lap. Bastian studies him for a long moment. Up close, the scars on his face are more prominent. The one through his eyebrow pulls slightly when he frowns. The one along his jaw disappears into his collar. His hands are steady on the wheelchair's armrests, but Caelen notices the fine tremor in his left fingers. Nerve damage, probably. You want to know why I married you? Bastian says. Yes. And you want to know what's in the locked room? Caelen's breath catches. Yes. Bastian's expression doesn't change. You'll get answers when you're ready to handle them. I'm ready now. No. The word is flat, final. You're not. Rage flares hot and sudden in Caelen's chest. You don't get to decide that. You bought me. I didn't buy you. Bastian's voice drops lower, colder. I married you through legal channels that you had the right to refuse. Refusing meant losing Elio. Yes. No apology in Bastian's tone. It did. And you made your choice. Now you live with the consequences. Caelen stands so fast the chair scrapes backward. His hands shake with fury and helplessness and something uglier he doesn't want to name. You manipulated the entire situation. You knew I'd have no real choice. I gave you the only choice that kept both you and the boy alive. Bastian wheels closer, and Caelen's body betrays him by going still, biology recognizing alpha proximity even as his mind screams at him to run. The system that processed your marriage contract? Same system that trafficked Elio. Same judges. Same social workers. Same bureaucrats who get paid to look the other way while children disappear. The words hit like ice water. Caelen's voice comes out hoarse. How do you know about Elio? Because I've been tracking the trafficking network for 3 years. Bastian's eyes never leave his face. I know where Elio came from. I know what they planned to do with him. And I know you took him anyway, even though it made you a target. Caelen's knees threaten to fold. He grabs the back of the chair for support. I'm a target? You were. Bastian's expression shifts. Not quite sympathy, but something adjacent to it. Now you're protected. My name on your marriage certificate means touching you means declaring war on me. And most people aren't stupid enough to do that. Most people. There are always exceptions. Bastian's tone is matter-of-fact, clinical. Which is why you'll follow the rules I'm about to give you. Caelen wants to argue, wants to throw something, wants to scream that he's not a chess piece to be moved around a board he can't see. But Elio is safe. Federal getting medical care. And Caelen learned a long time ago that pride is a luxury people like him can't afford. What rules? He asks quietly. Bastian wheels to his desk and pulls out a tablet, which he hands to Caelen. The screen shows a list. 1. You do not leave the building without security clearance. 2. You do not discuss your marriage or my business with anyone outside this household. 3. You do not enter restricted areas without permission. 4. You do not put yourself in situations where you could be used as leverage. Caelen stares at the words until they blur. So I'm a prisoner. You're protected, Bastian corrects. There's a difference. Is there? For the first time, something that might be frustration crosses Bastian's face. You don't understand what you're in the middle of yet. When you do, you'll realize these rules aren't about controlling you. They're about keeping you alive. Caelen looks up from the tablet. Then tell me. Make me understand. Bastian holds his gaze for a long moment. Something passes between them, not attraction, not trust, but a kind of recognition. Two people who survived by learning when to be invisible. Not yet, Bastian says finally, but soon. He turns back toward the windows, and the dismissal is clear. Caelen sets the tablet on the desk and walks to the door. His hand is on the handle when Bastian speaks again. Caelen. He stops, doesn't turn around. You're not property here, Bastian says, quieter now. But you're also not free. Learn the difference. Caelen leaves without responding. He makes it halfway down the hallway before his legs give out and he has to lean against the wall, breathing hard, trying to process the fact that he just married into some kind of war he doesn't understand with a man who treats protection like a business transaction. His phone buzzes. Another message from an unknown number. The south terrace is accessible to you. Fresh air might help. No signature. But the phrasing is too careful, too precise to be anyone but Bastian. Caelen closes his eyes and tries to remember the last time someone noticed he needed space to breathe. He can't. What is Bastian Kade really protecting Caelen from? And what happens when Caelen discovers the protection is just another form of control? The terrace smells like winter and exhaust from the city below. Caelen grips the railing, letting cold air sting his face, trying to quiet the noise in his head. The Hudson stretches gray and endless to his left. To his right, Manhattan rises in geometric patterns of glass and steel. He's never been this high up before, never seen the city from a perspective where individual people disappear into crowd patterns. It makes him feel invisible in a way that's almost comforting. The door opens behind him. Caelen doesn't turn. "You're allowed to be angry," Deshawn says, coming to stand a few feet away, far enough to respect space, close enough that Caelen can feel the buffer of another presence. "I'm not angry." Caelen's voice is flat. "I'm tired." Those aren't mutually exclusive. Caelen glances sideways. Deshawn is staring out at the city with an expression Caelen can't quite read. Something between nostalgia and resignation. "How long have you known him?" Caelen asks. 6 years. Since the bombing. "Were you there?" "Yes." Deshawn's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. "I pulled him out of the car." The image forms before Caelen can stop it. Flames, twisted metal. A man screaming for a mate who is already gone. "He doesn't talk about it," Deshawn continues, "but he carries it. Every day. Every decision." He finally looks at Caelen. "You think he's controlling you. Maybe he is. But he's also the only reason you and Elio aren't already dead." The words should sound dramatic. Instead, they land with the weight of absolute certainty. Caelen's grip tightens on the railing. Why does he care? Because someone has to. Deshawn pushes off the railing. "Lunch is at 1. You should eat." He leaves before Caelen can respond. The penthouse feels different when Caelen returns. Less sterile, more like a machine calibrated for specific purposes he doesn't understand yet. He checks on Elio, finds him awake and alert, eating soup that Kendra brought up. The boy's eyes track Caelen's movements with the intensity of someone who's learned that safety is temporary. Caelen sits on the edge of the bed. "You're feeling better." Elio nods. Doesn't speak. Never does. "We're staying here for a while," Caelen says carefully. "The man who lives here, his name is Bastian. He's helping us." Elio's expression doesn't change, but his small hand finds Caelen's and squeezes tight. Caelen stays until the boy falls asleep again, then forces himself to explore. He finds a library on the 4th floor, actual books, not just decorative spines. Medical texts, legal volumes, true crime, nothing fiction, nothing soft. He finds a gym on the 5th floor that looks unused except for physical therapy equipment clearly designed for someone with limited mobility. He finds a surveillance room on the 6th floor, banks of monitors showing building entrances, hallways, the terrace he just left. Empty now, but clearly staffed at some point. What he doesn't find is that locked room, which means it's on one of the basement levels he doesn't have access to. Caelen returns to the main floor and sits in the study where Bastian summoned him earlier. The room smells faintly of alpha. Controlled, restrained, nothing like the aggressive pheromones Caelen grew up fearing in foster homes where alphas used biology as a weapon. This scent is different, deliberate, like Bastian decided exactly how much presence to project and calibrate it accordingly. It should be comforting. It's not. Because control that precise means Bastian is always thinking 3 steps ahead. And Caelen has no idea what game they're playing. The tablet on the desk lights up. A message. "You're looking for something." Caelen's pulse jumps. He types back, "The locked room." The response comes immediately, "Not yet. When you're ready to help." Caelen stares at the screen. His fingers hover over the keyboard. Finally, he types, "Help with what?" The response takes longer this time. Long enough that Caelen wonders if Bastian changed his mind about answering. Then, destroying the people who hurt children like Elio. The words sit heavy on the screen. Caelen reads them 3 times. He thinks about Elio's scars, the way the boy flinches at certain sounds, the night terrors that make him wake up gasping like he's drowning. He thinks about his own childhood. Foster homes where Omegas learned early that complaining only made things worse, where social workers processed paperwork and never asked why kids showed up with new bruises. He thinks about systems built to protect that instead enable. His fingers move before he can second-guess. How? The response is immediate, by being exactly what they expect you to be. Compliant, quiet, forgettable. Something cold slides down Caelen's spine. You want me to spy. I want you to witness, document, survive. The rest is my problem. Caelen's hands shake. This is insane. He has no training, no experience, no reason to believe he won't end up disappeared into the same machinery that nearly swallowed Elio. But he types, "What do I have to do?" The screen goes blank for a full minute. Then a new message appears with an attached file. Start by reading this. Don't open it anywhere except this room. And don't tell anyone, including Elio, what you're learning. Caelen opens the file. It's a case summary. Detailed. Horrifying. 3 years of investigation into a trafficking network that operates through family court liaison offices in 6 states. Children funneled from foster care into approved placements that are actually labor rings, breeding programs, and worse. Names are redacted, but locations aren't. Caelen recognizes the address of the office where he was processed for emergency custody placement 7 years ago. His stomach turns. He keeps reading. The network has protection at multiple levels. Judges who approve placements without investigation, social workers who falsify reports, charitable organizations that provide cover. Money flows through shell corporations. Victims are cycled through fast enough that individual cases never gain traction. And at the center of it all is a bureaucrat named Victoria Hargrave, Director of Family Services Oversight, Eastern District. Caelen stares at her photo. 50s. Professional. The kind of face that appears on nonprofit brochures about helping vulnerable children. She personally signed off on 17 placements in the past 6 months. 12 of those children are missing. Caelen's vision tunnels. He has to grip the desk to stay upright. Another message appears. You were almost one of those placements. When you aged out at 18, you fell through the cracks. They lost track of you. That's the only reason you're alive. Caelen can't breathe. I need someone who can walk into that office without raising suspicion. Someone they'll dismiss as irrelevant. Someone who has legal standing as an Omega spouse to request documentation on behalf of household dependents. You can access files I can't touch. Ask questions I can't ask. Exist in spaces I can't reach. And because you're my spouse, you're legally untouchable. They can't make you disappear without declaring war. Caelen forces air into his lungs. His hands won't stop shaking. This is why Bastian married him. Not for desire. Not for companionship. For legal immunity and strategic access. He should feel used. Manipulated. Angry. Instead, he feels something sharp and clarifying that might be purpose. Another message. You don't have to do this. You can stay here. Safe. Protected. And I'll find another way. But it will take longer. And more children will disappear while I do. Caelen closes his eyes. He thinks about Elio's silence. The way trauma stole his voice. He thinks about every foster kid he grew up with who aged out and vanished into systems that pretended to care. He thinks about the woman in the photo, Victoria Hargrave, with her professional smile and her 17 signatures that ended in 12 missing children. He opens his eyes and types, "I'll do it." The response comes immediately. Then tomorrow we start your training. Caelen sits in the study until the sun sets and the city lights flicker on below, trying to process the fact that he just agreed to infiltrate a trafficking network with nothing but legal paperwork and the protection of a man he barely knows. His phone buzzes. A message from Deshawn. "Dinner is ready. Elio's asking for you." Caelen stands on legs that feel unsteady and makes his way back to the boy who became his reason for surviving. Elio is sitting up in bed, looking more alert than he has in days. When Caelen enters, the boy's face does something it almost never does. He smiles. Small, fragile, but real. And Caelen understands with devastating clarity that this is what he's fighting for. Not abstractions. Not justice in the conceptual sense. But the specific, tangible reality of one child who deserves to grow up without fear. Even if it means Caelen has to walk into the machinery that nearly killed them both. How do you destroy a system designed to devour people like you? And what happens when the man protecting you has his own secrets that could be just as dangerous? The training starts at 6 a.m. with documents that make Caelen's eyes blur. Legal statutes on Omega spousal rights, federal protection guidelines, documentation requirements for dependent care, appeals processes that twist through bureaucratic language designed to exhaust anyone who tries to navigate them. Bastian doesn't sugarcoat it. "You'll go to the family court liaison office next Tuesday," he says, sliding a folder across his desk. "You'll request documentation on Elio's case history. You're legally entitled as his guardian to access those records." Caelen opens the folder. Inside is a fabricated backstory. Elio is now legally his nephew, orphaned after his sister died in a car accident. Foster care placement pending. Emergency custody granted to Caelen as next of kin. "This is fake," Caelen says. "It's documented." Bastian's tone is matter-of-fact, which makes it real enough for their purposes. What if they check? They won't. They process dozens of cases daily. You're just another Omega trying to navigate a system designed to wear you down until you give up. Bastian's eyes are steady on his. They'll dismiss you the second you walk in the door. Use that. Caelen's stomach twists. And if something goes wrong, Deshawn will be outside. If you're not out in 90 minutes, he comes in. Bastian wheels closer. But nothing will go wrong. You're not doing anything illegal. You're not stealing files. You're not confronting anyone. You're just a concerned guardian asking bureaucratic questions. Who happens to be documenting everything. Yes. No apology in Bastian's voice. The recording device will be in your jacket button. Video and audio. They'll never know. Caelen picks up the jacket draped over the chair. Expensive, well-tailored, nothing like anything he's ever owned. The button looks completely ordinary. "How many times have you done this?" Caelen asks. "This exact operation? Never. You're the first person who can walk in there without raising suspicion." Bastian's expression hardens. "Which is why you need to be perfect. No improvisation. No emotional reactions. You go in, ask questions from the script, document their responses, and leave. What if they ask me something I'm not prepared for? You defer. Say you need to consult with your spouse. They'll expect that from an Omega." Bastian's voice drops. "I know that's degrading. I know it reinforces every stereotype you've spent your life fighting. But right now, those stereotypes are your camouflage." Caelen's jaw tightens. He wants to argue, wants to throw the jacket back and tell Bastian to find someone else. But there is no one else. And 12 children are still missing. The next 4 days blur together in a routine Caelen didn't expect. Mornings with Bastian going over protocols, afternoons with Deshawn practicing conversational deflection, evenings with Elio, who's recovering faster than anyone expected. Dr. Imani keeps calling it remarkable. Caelen suspects it's because Elio finally feels safe enough to heal. On the 5th night, Caelen wakes to crying. Not Elio's. Different. Younger. Coming from somewhere below. He sits up, heart hammering, listening. The sound cuts off abruptly, like someone covered a mouth or closed a door. Silence returns. But Caelen knows what he heard. He pulls on clothes and slips into the hallway. The building is dark except for emergency lighting that casts everything in shades of blue. His bare feet are silent on marble floors. He takes the elevator down 1 level, then another. The button for the basement levels doesn't respond to his fingerprint. Restricted access. Caelen stares at the panel, frustration and curiosity warring in his chest. Then the elevator moves on its own. Down. Caelen's pulse spikes. He didn't press anything. Someone else is controlling it remotely. The doors open onto a hallway that's nothing like the penthouse above. Concrete walls, industrial lighting, doors with keypads instead of handles. And at the end of the hall, standing in an open doorway, is Bastian. His expression is unreadable. "You heard," he says, not a question. Caelen nods, throat tight. Bastian gestures into the room behind him. "Then you need to understand what you're really protecting." Caelen steps forward on legs that feel unsteady. The room is larger than he expected. Set up like a small apartment with multiple beds, toys scattered on the floor, and medical equipment tucked against the walls. 3 children sleep in the beds, ages maybe 4 to 7, different races, different genders, all carrying the particular stillness of kids who learn to hide. Caelen's vision tunnels. "What is this?" "Safe house," Bastian says quietly. "Temporary, until I can find permanent placements that won't funnel them back into the system." "How long have they been here?" "Varies. Longest is 8 months. Shortest arrived 3 days ago." Bastian wheels further into the room, movements careful not to wake anyone. "They're not legally mine. I can't register them without putting them back on the grid. So they exist in the space between documentation." Caelen stares at the sleeping children. One of them, a little girl with braids, has scars on her forearms that look like cigarette burns. "How many?" Caelen's voice cracks. "How many have you saved?" 14. Bastian's expression is stone. 12 are with vetted families now. These 3 are still in process. Caelen's knees give out. He sinks onto the floor, back against the wall, trying to process what he's seeing. This isn't just documentation. This isn't just gathering evidence. Bastian is actively running an extraction operation. "The marriage," Caelen says hoarsely. "You needed legal cover. An Omega spouse can't be compelled to testify against you. Can't be forced to disclose household operations. Yes, and my virgin status makes you untouchable under federal protection statutes. Any attempt to harm or coerce you triggers automatic investigation." Bastian's eyes are steady. "You're not just camouflage for the office visits. You're a legal shield for this entire operation." Caelen laughs, comes out broken, almost hysterical. "So I'm not your spouse. I'm your insurance policy." "You're both." Bastian wheels closer. "I won't lie to you. I married you for strategic reasons. But that doesn't mean I don't intend to protect you. Because you need me functional. Because you deserve to be safe." Bastian's voice drops. "And because I remember what it's like to lose someone you swore to protect." The words hang heavy between them. Caelen looks at the sleeping children. He thinks about Elio upstairs. About every foster kid he grew up with who disappeared into the machinery of a system that treated them like inventory. He thinks about Victoria Hargrave's professional smile and her 17 signatures. "What happens if I say no?" Caelen asks. "If I refuse to go to the office? Then I find another way. Takes longer. More children disappear. But I don't force you." Bastian's expression doesn't change. "You always have a choice." Caelen almost believes him. He stands, legs unsteady, and walks to the nearest bed. The little girl with braids is holding a stuffed rabbit with one ear missing. Her breathing is soft, even. She looks peaceful in sleep in a way that probably doesn't carry into waking hours. Caelen reaches out and very gently smooths a curl back from her forehead. She doesn't wake. "What's her name?" he whispers. "Amara. She's 6. Taken from her mother by court order after a custody dispute. Mother lost because she couldn't afford the legal fees. Amara was placed with an approved foster family that turned out to be a procurement site." Bastian's voice is clinical, controlled. "She was there for 3 weeks before I got her out." 3 weeks. Caelen's hand trembles. "How did you find her?" "I have people inside the network. Low-level workers who got recruited because they needed money and didn't realize what they were signing up for. One of them alerted me." Bastian watches Caelen's face. "She's safe now, but there are hundreds more who aren't." Caelen closes his eyes. The weight of it presses down on his chest until breathing hurts. He spent his entire childhood being powerless. Invisible. One of the kids that systems processed without seeing. And now someone is asking him to use that invisibility as a weapon. I need to think, Caelen says. You have until Monday. Bastian's tone doesn't change. After that, we proceed with or without the office documentation. I won't risk you if you're not ready. The elevator ride back up is silent. Caelen returns to his room and sits on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. His phone buzzes. A message from Elio's room tablet. Are you okay? Caelen crosses the hall. Elio is awake, sitting up, eyes worried in the low light. Caelen sits beside him. I'm okay. Elio doesn't believe him. The boy's small hand finds his, squeezing. There are other kids here, Caelen says quietly. Like you, who need help. Elio's eyes widen. The man who married me, Bastian, he's trying to protect them. But it's dangerous. And he needs my help. Caelen takes a shaky breath. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Elio doesn't speak. He never does. But he reaches up and puts his small hand over Caelen's heart. The gesture is clear. You're stronger than you think. Caelen almost breaks. He pulls Elio into a hug, gentle, careful, and feels the boy's arms wrap around him with surprising fierceness. When he pulls back, Elio is crying silently. But he's also nodding. Caelen understands. Do it. Help them. He returns to his room as dawn breaks over the city. The skyline is pale gold and gray, beautiful in the way distant things often are. He picks up his phone and types a message to Bastian. I'm ready. The response comes immediately. Tuesday, 9 a.m. Deshawn will drive you. Caelen sets the phone down and stares at his hands. They're shaking. He's about to walk into a system that devours people like him, armed with nothing but paperwork and a hidden camera, trusting a man he barely knows to pull him out if things go wrong. But somewhere in the city, children are disappearing into machinery designed to hide them. And Caelen learned a long time ago that sometimes the only way to survive is to stop being invisible, even if visibility means becoming a target. What happens when the system you're infiltrating realizes you're not just asking questions, you're building a case that could destroy them all? The family court liaison office smells like burned coffee and despair. Caelen grips the folder Bastian gave him, approaching the reception desk. I need documentation for a dependent minor. Case transfer and custody review. Sharon, the intake coordinator, barely looks up. Fill out Form TC 407. Processing takes 6 to 8 weeks. I was told I could request expedited review as legal guardian. Everyone thinks they're special. Sharon's eyes sweep over Caelen's expensive jacket. You got a lawyer? My spouse handles legal matters. Of course he does. She shoves a clipboard across the counter. Fill this out. Wait over there. 23 minutes later, a woman emerges. 50s, professional, carrying authority like a weapon. Victoria Hargrave, Director of Family Services Oversight. Mr. Roe? This way, please. Caelen's pulse spikes. She wasn't supposed to be here. His name is flagged. Victoria's office is too nice, real wood, certifications on the walls. She doesn't sit, studying him clinically. You're married to Bastian Kade. Yes. Congratulations. That's quite a match for someone with your background. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Foster care, no family connections. You must have something very special. Caelen forces himself to breathe. I'm here about my nephew, Elio Jennings. I need his case history. Of course. Victoria taps her tablet. These things take time, Mr. Roe. Weeks, maybe months. Unless you're willing to be flexible about certain details. What details? Your husband has made powerful people uncomfortable. Questions about foster care placements, funding audits. Her voice stays pleasant. It would be helpful if you could convince him his attention might be better directed elsewhere. Caelen's stomach drops. I don't tell my spouse what to do, but pillow talk can be very persuasive. Think about it. When you're ready to be reasonable, we can fast-track your request. She opens the door. Dismissed. 3 blocks away in Deshawn's car, Caelen finally breathes. She knew exactly who I was. Expected. They've been monitoring Bastian for months. Deshawn glances at him. But she approached you, that means they're desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. Did it record? Every word. Direct evidence of obstruction and witness tampering. That's federal. That night, Caelen's phone vibrates. Unknown number. A photo, him, leaving the family court office. The message: your husband should be more careful about who he sends into our building. Accidents happen to people who ask too many questions. The social worker arrives unannounced at 9 a.m. Someone from Child Protective Services, Kendra says quietly. Anonymous tip about an unregistered child. Elio's spoon clatters. He presses against Caelen's side, trembling. Monica Reeves sits in Bastian's study, severe and calculating. I'm here regarding allegations of improper guardianship and potential endangerment. Allegations from who? Caelen keeps his voice steady. Anonymous reports are protected. I need to interview the child. Alone. No. Refusing to cooperate is grounds for immediate removal. The child is under legal guardianship. Bastian interrupts smoothly. All documentation is current. If you'd like to review it, I'm happy to provide access. Documentation can be falsified. Then verify authenticity through official channels. Until then, you're welcome to conduct your interview with the guardian present. They compromise. Monica interviews Elio with Caelen present, recording everything. The boy won't speak, only shakes his head desperately when she asks if he wants to leave. This situation raises red flags, Monica says afterward. Unregistered child, wealthy household, sudden guardianship. You understand how this looks. It looks like someone is using the system to harass a family they want to intimidate, Caelen says quietly. That's a serious accusation. So is threatening to remove a child from the first safe home he's had in months. Monica leaves with veiled threats about returning with warrants. That night, another message: you should have listened. Tell your husband to back off, or next time we won't ask permission to take the child. Caelen forwards it to Bastian. The response: pack a bag. We're moving you and Elio to a secure location. I'm not running. You're not running. You're surviving. Please. The word stops Caelen cold. Bastian doesn't say please. Caelen types, I'm not leaving, but we need to move faster. Moving faster means more risk. They already threatened Elio. How much worse can it get? Long pause. Much worse. But you're right. We're out of time. Bastian finds Caelen on the terrace at 2 a.m. You should be sleeping, Bastian says. So should you. I don't sleep much. Not since the bombing. Caelen turns. Do you ever regret surviving? Every day. The honesty hits hard. Then why keep going? Because my mate and child died in a car rigged by people I thought were allies. Bastian's hands tighten on the wheelchair arms. I survived because I was running 5 minutes late. I spent 2 years wanting to die. Then I learned about a foster care placement ring operating through the same people who ordered the hit. Children being sold. Disappeared. His voice drops. I realized my survival was an opportunity to burn the entire system down. So you married me. Yes, but you asked if I regret surviving. I did. Until you walked in holding that boy like he was the only thing that mattered. And I realized I wasn't the only person who understands what it means to keep going for someone else. I'm not brave. I'm just out of options. That's what bravery is. Bastian wheels closer. Doing the thing that terrifies you because the alternative is worse. They threatened Elio. They know exactly how to hurt me. Which is why we're moving him tomorrow. He'll be safe while we finish this. And if something happens to me? Bastian's expression hardens. Nothing will happen to you. You can't promise that. No, but I can promise I'll tear apart anyone who tries. The vehemence sends electricity down Caelen's spine. Why do you care? Really? Bastian is silent. Then, because somewhere in the last 2 weeks, you stopped being a strategic asset and became someone I don't want to lose. He reaches out, fingers brushing Caelen's hand on the railing. Not grabbing, just touching. Caelen's body lights up, biology screaming at him to lean in. He doesn't move. Neither does Bastian. Tomorrow we meet the federal prosecutor, Bastian says quietly. Once we submit evidence, there's no going back. I know. You can still walk away. Caelen looks at their hands. If I walk away, I'm still invisible. I'm done being invisible. Bastian's fingers tighten. Then we finish this together. The evidence hits the U.S. Attorney's office at 9 a.m. Thursday. Caelen watches through monitors as files transfer. 3 years of investigation, recordings, financial documentation, testimony from 6 workers who flipped. And Victoria Hargrave attempting witness tampering, voice clear and damning. Prosecutor Jamila Turner receives it. 42. Reputation for taking down corruption cases others won't touch. How long until they move? Caelen asks. Hours. Maybe days. Bastian doesn't look away from screens. But Jamila doesn't waste opportunities. The first arrest happens at 2:47 p.m. Victoria Hargrave in handcuffs, professional composure cracking. 17 counts. Life in prison. More arrests follow. Monica Reeves, Sharon Mitchell, Judge Horace Webb, 3 social workers, 5 charitable organization directors. The network collapses in real time. Caelen's phone rings. Unknown number. You think you won. Male voice, rough with rage. You just made yourself a permanent target. The line goes dead. Deshawn arrives with an unmarked van. Facility is 90 minutes north. Full security. Caelen pauses. I need to see him first. Bastian is surrounded by lawyers and security. He looks up when Caelen enters. You should be gone already. Someone called. Threatened you specifically. I know. We're handling it. Caelen drops to his knees. When this is over, we'll talk. Promise. But right now, get those kids somewhere safe. Bastian's fingers brush Caelen's jaw. Go. Please. The touch lasts 3 seconds. Not long enough. Caelen reaches the door. Don't die. Do my best. The safe house is a converted farmhouse surrounded by forest and tactical personnel. The children settle with the adaptability of kids who've learned temporary comfort. That night, news breaks. Warehouse fire on the west side. Suspected arson. 1 casualty confirmed. The building belonged to Bastian's Shell Corporation. Emergency responders found a wheelchair in the rubble. Caelen stops breathing at the headline. Deshawn grips his shoulders. It's not him. Listen to me. It's a decoy. What? We expected retaliation. Bastian set up a diversion. The warehouse was empty except for planted equipment. He's alive. Where? I can't tell you yet, but he's safe. And he told me to tell you he's sorry. Caelen's knees give out. He could have warned me. No. If your reaction wasn't genuine, they'd know. Your fear had to be real. 48 hours later, Bastian arrives just after 2 a.m. He looks exhausted but whole. Caelen drops to his knees, pressing his forehead against Bastian's knee. You let me think you were dead. I know. For tactical advantage. Yes. I hate you. I know. Bastian's fingers card through his hair. But you're safe. The children are safe. The network is dismantled. Caelen lifts his head. At what cost? Everything I was willing to pay. Including the possibility you'd never forgive me. I should walk away, take Elio and disappear. You should. But I won't, because you became the person I trust most. And I don't know how to walk away from that. Bastian goes still, cupping Caelen's jaw. You deserve better. I don't want better. I want you. Caelen leans into the touch. Do you want me to stay? Not for strategy. Just because you want me here. Bastian's eyes search his face. More than I've wanted anything in 5 years. Then ask me. I'm not good at asking. Learn. Silence stretches. Finally, Bastian speaks, voice rough. Stay, please. Not because I need you for operations, but because you make survival feel like living. Because I think about you constantly. Because the thought of you leaving makes me understand drowning. He pauses. Stay because I'm asking, not demanding. Okay, I'll stay, but no more fake deaths. Bastian's laugh is genuine and broken. Deal. Morning brings sunshine too bright after days of fear. Bastian is on the back porch with coffee. The prosecutor called. He says, final arrests went through. 17 people in custody. Network is officially dismantled. Which means it'll resurface somewhere else with different names. Probably, which is why the work doesn't stop. Policy reform. Oversight restructuring. That could take years. I'm patient, and I have help now. Caelen thinks about Elio's scars. Amara's burns. Every child still trapped. Where do we start? Together. Caelen extends his hand. Bastian takes it, grip firm and steady. Behind them, for children laugh. The sound is tentative but real. For the first time in as long as Caelen can remember, survival feels like the beginning of something that might become living. But in the city, people are already adapting. New directors appointed. New placements approved. New children entering pipelines designed to look like protection. Systems don't die when you arrest their operators. They evolve. The war isn't over. It's just beginning. And this time, Caelen and Bastian aren't fighting alone. But they're not naive enough to think justice is more than temporary interruption in machinery designed to devour the vulnerable. The question isn't whether they'll win. It's whether they'll survive long enough to make sure the next generation doesn't have to fight this battle at all. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories that inspire hope and courage. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Together, we can create a community where survival becomes living, and living becomes the foundation for change. See you in the next story.